Welcome back to another reading and correcting with me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter of one of my stories and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to them live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you're looking for a way to support me, it's on my Patreon. Today we are doing chapter 27 of A Familiar Death. Marlowe tried not to dwell on what happened in the town while he drove. He tried to answer Trembor when he made conversation, but his thoughts kept coming back to his sister, yelling insults at him, at the shock on his mother's face, at his father lunging at him, his intention to kill clear in his eyes. For a second time, that police had tried to destroy him, this time literally. On the outskirts of the city, he saw the vehicle washing station and remembered all the slurs written on his car. He wasn't driving an advertisement. He wasn't driving an advertisement of what he'd been put through. The station was older, made of unpainted concrete block with 6 bays. There was no one there. The water and soap were activated by a swipe of his ID card, and they had to do the scrubbing themselves. They took their time, making sure none of the words remained, and as careful as he was, Marlowe's clothes ended up wet, soaked actually, when his lion hosed them down thoroughly by accident, or so he claimed. Marlowe returned the favor by dumping a bucket of sooty water over Trembor's head while he was crouched, scrubbing off a particularly explicit drawing on the bottom of the door. The ensuing water fight had them laughing and continued chuckling as they finished cleaning the car. There were still marks on it they decided they were finished, but no words remained. Now, it only looked like some of Trembor's nephew and niece had gone over it with markers. The only way that evidence would be removed was to have his car repainted. He'd get to that eventually. They dried off in the station's washroom and did something more, which would have gotten them in trouble if they'd been caught, but Marlowe didn't care. He felt better now, and he wanted to enjoy his mate. When they left, mostly dry, and in a new set of clothing, he was definitely feeling happy. It lasted until they parked at Jexka's clinic and he saw the tax kiosk at the corner of the building. His mood didn't come crashing down, but it soured slightly. "We're going to have to go back there," he said, stepping out of the car. "Didn't you want to let Arana deal with the rest?" Marlowe indicated the kiosk. "We forgot the body in the clinic's freezer in my haste. I forgot the body in the freezer's clinic in my haste to get out of there, not leaving it there for one of them to find and eat. Just a body, Marl. It's paid for, so you don't have to bother with it if you don't want to." Marlowe shook his head. "It's the principle of the thing. Not to say I wouldn't pass to them, try and charge me with something like littering. For a body in a freezer? You've seen how that place is. They're going to do everything they can to make my life miserable." Trevor sighed. "Yeah, at least it's going to be quick. Get in, get it out, and we're on our way back here. Which reminds me, you never told me how much a coyote costs, so I can cover my half." Marlowe shook his head. "My kill, my expense." He headed for the trunk of his car, and Trevor met him there, holding him by the shoulder. "Hey, we're mated now. No more this is my stuff, this is your stuff. It was our kill. We both ate from it. When we have time, we should set up a joint account for our hunting budget." Marlowe fought that idea for a moment. It was his money to do as he wanted with. No one had any business telling him to share part of it. But this wasn't just anyone. He relaxed a little. "This being mated thing isn't as easy as I thought it would be." His lion kissed his cheek. "You entered into it of your own free will. Under witness, you better get used to it." Marlowe smiled and gave his lion a peck on the lip. "I will. For now, I need to return the coyote's possession." He took them out of the trunk. The clothing was stiff and stuck in a clump from the dried blood. The kiosk accepted the card, and it didn't seem to know what to do with it. Like any machine, it worked well when everything followed the established method. Payments weren't supposed to be made over pads anymore. And the system had difficulty reconciling it. Eventually, it requested that he pay the amount of 0, which he did. Then he had to fight with the clothing to make it fit in the return bag. And once that was done, he had to deal with the system insistence he should know his ranking. When all that was done, something new appeared on the screen. Tram, come see this, he called. They've set up loan servers directly at the kiosk. This is insane. Trembor looked at the advertisement and shook his head. I guess it was just a question of time until the government saw how much money the lending companies were making and wanted a piece of that too. The lending agencies are going to fight it. Marlot took his card back. You think they'll win? With the money chest the government has, they can offer lower rates. Maybe, but unlike that town, here the government has to obey the rule of law. There has to be something that covers how much or how little interest even they can charge. We can ask my dad the next time we see him. Marlot grinned. You mean when they're throwing our mating celebration? We're going to see them before that. We have to tell them we're mated first. You didn't pad them? Trembor looked at Marlot in horror. Tell them their last unmated son has finally signed a contract over pad? Marl, I'd like to live long enough so I can enjoy our time together. They're not going to hurt you. They love you. They love you. Clearly you're not remembering your encounter with Serene. Marlot shuddered at the memory. But she did it to protect you, to make sure I was good enough to be with you. Even she loves you. Everyone knows that. I'll tell them in person with you there. That way if they get angry, I can hide behind you. And let me take the brunt of it. Marlot smiled. Hey, we're mated. We share everything, remember? Marlot looked at him dubious. I don't know about this sharing your well-earned pain. Speaking of which, how did Longleg cost? Marlot indicated the kiosk. And you see, he didn't cost me anything. Funny. Come on. Reluctantly, Marlot told him, and his lion transferred half of it to him. And his pad buzzed to let him know of the transfer. Marlot considered refusing it, having a moment of possessiveness over his skill, but he reminded himself again that this was Trembor, his lion, his mate. He was mated now, and his mate was a wonderful, patient, and loving lion, and he would get used to this. He acknowledged the transfer and put his pad away. The smirk his lion gave him almost made Marlot pull it back and undo it. Instead, he smirked right back. Hey, I've been single my entire life. Don't expect this to happen overnight. Trembor put an arm over Trembor put an arm over Marlot's shoulder and pulled him along towards the clinic. I'm not. I know you too well. What I am doing is enjoying the thought that from now on, what's mine is yours. Pause, which means I finally get to give your new nephews and niece your pad number. Marlot, stop. Please don't. Lion smiled at him, and he recanted quizzically. I'm not kidding, Trem. Don't. I don't know how you do it, but I'm still not over that time I accidentally answered your pad and got buried in question. They just won't stop. They're cops, Marl. They're curious. Being asked about my personal hygiene is a little more than being curious. Then, before I could say anything, another one of them was telling me about how he'd... Trembor took his shoulder again. Oronic's at that age where his body is becoming sexual, and I'm the confidant. He told you that because he thought you were me. None of them would bother you with any of that. Well, except the hygiene, that I'm afraid you're going to have to accept as part of being my mate. I understand that, but there's just so many of them. Trembor smiled. There's only 14. No, there's more than that. I'm pretty sure of it. They all mobbed me during that first visit, and there were a lot more than 14 calls. Even you said there were more calls than usual. That's because after you answered Isa's call, she let everyone know you were there, and they all wanted to get to know you. You have to remember that by that point, all they knew of you was that Isa and Eric, what Isa and Eric told them from meeting you at the hospital. Trem, some of them asked if we were having sex. His lion chuckled, and Marlot had a moment of disbelief. Yeah, a few of them are way too mature for their age, but come on, you can't still be uncomfortable now that you've met them. Are you kidding? Marlot asked. I told you, they mobbed me, hundreds of them. They dragged me to the ground, and it was pure luck I survived the encounter. You're exaggerating. All right, I am. Marlot relented. I was overwhelmed when your sister sent me to the attic to entertain them. I felt like prey being sent to assuage the angry cubs. That's what it led to the encounter with Serene I told you about. She wasn't happy that cubs had managed to chase me away. Serene is the protective one of my mothers, but even she likes you. She has an odd way of showing it. She glares at me every time I see her. She's establishing her dominance. She did that first time. She can stop now. Marl, it's just how she is. I know. Look, I just need more time to get used to having so many relatives. You saw my family. It was just the four of us. I barely saw my extended family. Our family's just a little larger than what I've grown up with. All right, but like I said, we share now, so I expect you to take half those calls soon enough. Oh, Crone, why did I sign that contract again? Because I'm amazing in bed. Mallow laughed. Really? Trevor asked. Sorry, that wasn't what I thought you'd say. His lion looked at him thoughtfully. Okay, now I'm the one questioning why I signed it. Because I love you more than anything in the world. Mallow smiled at him. Right. Trevor leaned in, but before their lips touched, there was a gasp. A cow standing in the clinic doorway, looking at them, her eyes wide. She stayed against the wall as she moved, keeping as much distance as she could from them. Even once she was on the sidewalk, she never turned her back to them as she hurried away. Maybe this isn't the best place for us to wax on how much we love each other. With a theatrical sigh, Marlowe disengaged himself from his lover's arm and gave the cow a broad smile, which only made her move faster. I guess not. We might as well go in. And that concludes chapter 27 of A Familiar Death. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter is going to be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read the story, the whole story, as well as the other books in the series, they are available from all major e-retailer. If you want a different way to support me, that's on my Patreon, where you can also get access to just about everything I've written. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. on Twitch. Links are in the notes, and with that, I shall wish you a good day.